There are three main reasons why a salesperson hesitates to prospect. And the number one reason that they actually hesitate to prospect is that they think they're an interruption. And what that means is they go to pick up the phone and they think, well, I'll call next week. I don't want to bother them, or the holidays are coming up and I don't want to bother them, or they're too busy. And if you start having that psychological battle in your head, what ends up happening is you psych yourself out and you've already lost the sale. So sales really comes down to, it's not about what I'm going to say, it's about what does the prospect actually need to hear. And our job as salespeople is to solve problems, not to sell product or service. And if you come with the right intentions and make it be about, this is about me serving you and solving your problems, versus this is what I have to sell and let's talk about what I do, what ends up happening is you get more appointments and those appointments start to actually stick. The number two reason why a salesperson hesitates to pick up the phone and prospect is they're not prepared. They don't have any campaign set out. They don't know what they're going to do for their customers, the people that already bought from them, that love them. They don't have planned out 6 months in advance, and they get really busy and then they become reactive driven. So what we want to do is change our business model so that we're actually prepared, know what we're going to say, when we're going to say it, make sure we don't hide behind email, because people today we might think that they like email, but nothing really replaces a phone call. In fact, text messaging is more effective today than email, but many times we get stuck in different modes of communication that aren't as effective. What I want to do is share with you different tools today. In fact, I'm going to take you through the top 10 skills of top producers. That's people that we define that make over $200,000 a year that are 100% commission salespeople. And I'm going to take you through those 10 skills, and I'd like you to rate yourself, and we'll compare your skill sets against the best. So the number three reason a salesperson hesitates to pick up the phone, well, I'll tell you that at the end of this clip. But the number one sales book of all time ever sold is Green Eggs and Ham. And if you actually watch the movie, it's quite fascinating because you see that he gets rejected 65 times trying to sell green eggs and ham, and at the end he has a raving fan. So what I want to do is share with you some of the statistics of sales and make sure we're abiding within the guidelines of sales, and what that'll do is set you up to be more successful within your business. So the number one skill set is setting and achieving goals on your sheet. What you'll see here, it says the top 10 skills. And you'll rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. A 1 meaning everything kind of sucks right now, and a 10 being I'm set, there's no room for improvement, and I'm happy and I'm satisfied with where I'm at. I'm rocking it. So where are you between a scale of 1 and 10? Now, setting and achieving goals, there's actually two skill sets there. Setting them is quite easy, but achieving them is a whole nother ballgame. So, but I want you to look at, did I set goals for where I'm at in my business? Do I know specifically what I need to be doing to reach the income level that I want to reach? Did I interview someone that has already reached the goal that I desire? Am I modeling their techniques, and do I know exactly what I need to do? That's a 10. A 1 is you're winging it, or worse, you've been in business for a long time and you just kind of show up and you get some referrals and you're just trotting along. If you find yourself falling into contentment or satisfaction, that's usually a breeding ground for comparison. And then we find that if we don't have any type of vision, people without a vision perish, and we find that we get stuck and we're not really satisfied with anything. So we want to make sure that we're filling your soul. So rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 for setting and achieving goals. Number 2 is telephone skills and follow-up. Now, if you call someone 5 to 12 times, you have an 80% success rate of converting them into an actual customer. And that's 80% of the time you're successful with people that are currently satisfied with their vendor that they're actually using. What happens though is most salespeople stop at 3 times. They have a 5% success rate, and then they think they're an interruption, or worse, they think they're not interested because they haven't returned your phone call. The truth is people are busy. And in sales, we have to be persistent. We have to control the sale. We have to be proactive. And unless we're doing that, well, I find that a lot of salespeople fall into the order taker mentality, which simply means that if let's say you're a financial advisor and someone says, I'm looking for a financial advisor, you say, great, I can help you. I would love to help you. Of course you would love to help them, and of course you could. But an order taker, the definition is facilitating a sale that would have occurred anyway. A true salesperson is someone that sells someone something that they don't need, want, or necessarily have in their budget. So it's about earning the business. And that's where the true heart of sales comes in, is really being driven and finding that there really is a game. And to determine how good you are at the game is to look at your actual paycheck. Okay, and how good am I actually doing? So rate yourself on your telephone skills and follow-up. Do you know exactly what you're going to say, when you're going to say it? Do you keep in touch with people that bought from you once a month? What kind of campaign do you have put in place to be in touch with people for the next 6 months? Is it scheduled? Is it organized? Or are you kind of reactive driven? Where are you at with your telephone skills and prospecting? And worse, are you hiding behind email? So we want to make sure that we don't hide behind email. So rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 with telephone skills. Number 3 is prospecting. Now I want to clarify a few things about prospecting. If you are in any industry other than real estate, mortgage, and insurance and financial services, you're going to be making 100 dials a day. Okay, if you're showing up punching a time clock in a sales role, you're going to be making 100 dials a day. Now, if you're not, if you're a 100% commission salesperson, I would lean towards 100 dials a day, but you might say, who do I call? And that comes down to your actual strategy within your business. But what I'm going to rate you on here is that on a scale of 1 to 10, a 10 is going to be 40 dials a day, especially if you're in outside sales. If you're in inside sales, it's 100, no questions asked. But if you're in outside sales, that's 40 dials a day that you need to be making. What we train you to do is to make 10 dials in 30 minutes. That means you can make 40 calls in 2 hours. And I can guarantee, yes, I can guarantee, if you make 40 dials a day and you do that 5 days a week, you'll easily make over 6 figures. The question becomes, are you actually doing it? Or are you just can't find anybody's information? And so we're going to get into that in time management in a second. But I want you to rate yourself. Do you measure how many dials you're making per day? And you know, your prospecting also goes into what type of people are you calling on. And if you're making 40 dials a day, but you're not setting a lot of appointments, or those appointments are not sticking, that tells me that you maybe need to change your actual strategy. So rate yourself on your prospecting skills. All right, number 4, time management and productivity. So if you're actually scheduling those 2 hours to make 40 dials, then I would say that you're a pretty disciplined, proactive, productive person. If you're not, if you can't find the time to do that within the day, that tells me that there's some time management issues, or worse, some emotional issues, because time is emotional. And if you don't feel like doing something, you're probably not going to do it. So the average salesperson, 100% commission salesperson, spends 10 hours out of a 40-hour week looking for someone's information. They can't find it. It's a business card. It's on a Post-it note. It's in a calendar somewhere, or on a different technology piece that we don't know how to operate. So we're looking for things and we're not organized. So it's really important that you have a system for your organization, and we'll talk about some things that can help you with that at the end of this clip. But rate yourself on your time management and productivity, and most importantly around those 2 hours of prospecting. And prospecting is defined as face-to-face or over the phone. So you can't really count one appointment as your 2 hours of prospecting. You have to be out networking, meeting people, or actually on the telephone. Number 5 is your state of mind management, which is how do you feel most of the time? Am I angry, bitter, resentful? That's a 1. Or am I happy, blissful, joyful, excited to make more money? Do you tell people that you love sales? Do you love what you're doing in serving your customers? So how do you feel most of the time? So it's not about necessarily how people see you, but how do you feel? Okay, and typically how you feel will be dictated in your behaviors, but not always. So you have to make sure, where's my attitude about what am I doing? Do I think that I know everything and I don't really need any more customers? And really that's a selfish point of view, because there's a lot of people that need our help, especially if we're in sales. So we have to make sure that our ego is not bigger than our bank account, and that we are actually having a great attitude of service when we're out there with our customers. So where's your attitude between a 1 and 10 in state of mind management? Number 6, presenting an influence. This comes down to your questioning process and being able to build rapport and actually schedule follow-up appointments with a prospect. You have to make sure that you're measuring your appointments that are set and the drop-off rate that you actually have. Because setting them are wonderful, but you want to actually get more clients. So in order to do that, we have to make sure that our presentation is well done. We have to make sure that we're building an emotional connection. One of the biggest pieces in sales that most salespeople miss is that when they're on initial appointment with a client, what ends up happening is they don't build that relationship. They don't ask a question that's emotionally based. So then they have no kind of reason or follow-up questions to call them on. Rather, they're just calling about following up to, do you want my services? Versus building the actual relationship. And always make sure you take the prospect's cell phone number, text them your information so that they have it. Tell them to put your number in their phone, and that way they'll be able to communicate with you and you won't fall into the statistic of, well, I couldn't find your phone number. Okay, so identify your presentation skills in closing people on appointments. If you don't get them typically in some sort of commitment on the first meeting, you have a hard time getting a second meeting. The most likely they're going to reschedule, or you're going to start chasing them, and we don't want to chase anybody. So rate yourself on that. Number 7 is overcoming objections, which is my favorite. Someone is always selling somebody. The question becomes, are you selling people on why they should buy from you, or are they selling you on their excuses why now's not a good time? It's the simple questions of, I'm satisfied, I'm already working with somebody, send me some information. You know, all these typical responses that we get, but we have to have some really clever ways to overcome them. But by just saying, okay, or I'll call you back in 6 months, is not really selling, okay? We have to make sure we're earning the business, and so we want to take you through some steps on how to do that. But more importantly, on a 10 is, I know exactly what I'm going to say to every objection I'm going to get. And a 1 is, well, I hope they just like what I have to offer. I hope they like me. And we don't want to fall into that kind of sales. We actually want to earn the business today. So are we good at handling those objections? So if we just say, send me some information, and you say, okay, well, what would you like to see? Then you're falling into their bluff, so to speak. Now, sometimes they legitimately do need information, but it really comes down to is, can you set an appointment, or can you earn their business while they're on the phone? And if you can't set an appointment when you're on the phone with somebody and they say, call back, they're busy, chances are they're putting you off, and you're going to have to start chasing. So we want to make sure we don't fall into those signs of objection handling. But if people say to you, you know, I'm satisfied, and if you say, why are you satisfied, or why are you happy with that person, or what do you like about that person you're working with, all you're doing is butting heads. There's no way you're going to actually earn the business. So rate yourself on objection handling. Next is obtaining referrals. Now this is key. The majority of salespeople I meet with are very afraid to call and ask for referrals because they think that they're taking something from their customer, or they don't want to look bad in front of their customer, or worse, they think they didn't do a very good job. So we want to make sure that in referrals, it's not really about you getting a referral, it's about your customer looking good with their friend. And the most important thing you can do is actually build that relationship. And when you ask for referrals, I would say, do you ask every single time someone buys from you? And you have to make sure that they're in a peak state. That makes up at level 10. Are they in a peak state? Do you ask? And the most important component in referrals is to ask, what do you like about that person? Because then you can go and call the prospect and say, I got your name from so-and-so, and they told me something awesome about you. I pretty much guarantee you're going to get a phone call back. If not, you fall into the 5 to 12 times of calling, you're pretty much good to go. But you have to make sure that you're actually asking. You're asking in an easy way so that you're able to give your client the opportunity to help a friend, and you're there to be of service. So rate yourself on referrals. Do you ask, or do you wait for them to be given to you? Okay, and second to last, number 9 is cross-sell and upsell. That comes down to, are you just selling one type of product, or can you cross-sell and sell multiple? Or services. There's other services we could sell as well. Are we doing both and cross-selling? Upselling too. And that's a real skill set to make sure that we get people to the next level and give them options. There's many different ways of influencing people to another level of buying something more expensive. So what we have to do is make sure, am I actually doing, am I aware of what I offer, or am I so branded in one area of my business that people don't even know that I offer other products and services? So a 10 is, I cross-sell and upsell and I measure it. A 1 is, I wing it. I only sell my certain products that I specialize in, etc. And finally, number 10 is closing the sale. And closing the sale, a 10 is, you have 5 to 10 closes that you use regularly with every prospect to get them to sign on the dotted line. And getting someone to sign on the bottom line is you have to close them today because there's so much fear and skepticism. So a 10 is you have 5 to 10 closes. A 1 is you don't. You just kind of bring people, you keep meeting with them, hoping they're going to buy and realize you're their value, or you're actually selling them on your actual value. The average salesperson scores a 56 out of 100 on this particular sheet. And that tells me that they're scoring at a level of an F if you were to grade yourself. So add up your scores, take a look at where you're actually at within the 10 10 steps and 10 skills of sales. And then what I want you to do is I want you to circle, of the 10 skills, which skill, if you were absolutely excellent in that area, that it would make you even more money. What's that one skill, if you're absolutely excellent at it, would help you increase your income the most? What would that be? And then just write down how much more do you think you would make and if you were able to improve in one of these areas. And then what I'd like you to do after that is, if you're not a 9 or a 10 in a certain area, I'd like you to write down just on the side next to your score, why. Why are you not a 9 or a 10? What realistically is holding you back? Many times I find it's a belief that a salesperson has. Well, you know, I'm not really a phone person, or I'm not going to be that aggressive type salesperson, and this is how I run my business. Or worse, they're a slave to their conditions in their life because they let their sales business be ruled based on their emotions rather than based on their intellect, which is making sure that you do everything you possibly can to increase your odds to service and help even more people. That's what we actually want to look at here. Now, we've got some solutions for you. If there's some areas here where you want to take it to the next level. Even if you're a 9 or a 10, many times it's good to refresh where you're actually at, but it's also important to take scores if you're lower than a 9, is identify in what areas can I actually improve and enjoy the process. Because this isn't about forcing you to make cold calls. This is about learning how to be great in all areas. Because my belief is that if you just build your business on referrals, which is fine and wonderful, but times start to slow down a little bit, you might need to actually prospect and pick up the actual telephone and build some more business, and many people just don't know how to do that. And you have to participate in your own rescue today. You can't let the economy dictate your income. If you do, then it's really hard to enjoy being in sales. So some solutions we have for you is, one, if you'd like some one-on-one coaching, you get a fancy journal. And you also get the program Live Your Life by Design. Many people like one-on-one coaching because I sit with you personally, and we start off with you doing a needs assessment. Usually takes about 2 hours, and then I meet with you one-on-one for 2 hours to do a breakthrough session, which is to identify what are your real needs personally and professionally. And then I set an agenda to meet once a week for an hour for 3 months, so you know what to expect to learn and the accountability piece that's in place. And if you're really blessed, you have a company that will support you in that process, so just make sure you talk to your owner about that. We also have 2 programs, and one of the programs is called Super Sales, where we actually sit down with a group of 4 to 6 people and we actually make phone calls. We sit there, put it on speakerphone, and it's where the rubber meets the road, where you actually pick up the phone and you build business while you're there, while I'm sitting there, so we can take a look at improving your skill sets. Very, very effective for building business. Then of course we have an executive coaching program, which is 8 weeks, and you get a big fat binder, and we take you through a process of the top 10 skills of top income earners, which are all of these skill sets, and then we rate you again at the end. And if you're really blessed, your company will bring us in to customize training for you, where we take you through the top 10 skills, or we hone in on some of those skill sets so that you really enjoy the process of selling. Now, it's my belief that if you can't say that you love prospecting and cold calling, I really don't consider you a well-trained salesperson, because what salesperson would say they hate something about their business? And it doesn't mean that we're going to force you to cold call. I do believe, though, that you have to be great at it regardless, because even if you build your business on referrals, you're still going to get cold calling objections. And we have to make sure that we enjoy all processes, because if I can love sales, anybody can, because I used to hate selling. And I got my degree in family studies for $100,000, which is kind of like basket weaving, and I thought, what am I going to do? I'm going to be in sales. And finally one day someone said to me, you know, Tamara, you're either going to be the best or you're going to get out of the game. And that just kind of struck a chord in me, and I said, that's it. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to be awesome, and I'm going to love it, and I'm going to be good at it, I'm going to service people and make them happy, and I'm going to do a great job. So we want to make sure that we read Green Eggs and Ham so that we don't have a problem being persistent, because it's not about us. It's always about the customer. It's always about solving their problems and servicing their friends and building stronger relationships. So I want to give you the third reason why a salesperson might hesitate to pick up the phone. And it's one of the biggest reasons that holds people back, that they haven't mastered really in their life most of the time, which is being in a peak state. meaning that I'm going to be in a good place, versus, oh, I got to go to work today, versus I get to go to work today. I get to earn my own income. I'm not a person that, just gets a salary every week. I actually get to decide how much I want to make. So you want to make sure that you control your energy. And there's certain techniques that I take people through to get you in that place of wanting to pick up the phone rather than waiting for the sun to shine and for you to suddenly feel like it. Chances are you're not really going to feel like it unless you prepare yourself to be really good at it. So if you don't want to be a statistic, and you want to be at a 90% or above in your score and earning business and earning the amount of money that you actually deserve and want to have, you must put us on your schedule.